Well, welcome everybody to the next talk, this next talk here about the magic of automation and everyday chores. And with that, we're welcoming Jamie Lee Coleman to this talk. And he's a developer advocate at Sonatype, and he was at IBM previously. And he's based in the UK, and he focuses on discussing the importance of security in software, enhancing developer productivity, and raising awareness about the energy consumption of technology. And I also have had the pleasure of working with Jamie back at IBM, so very happy to be back here hosting him today. So everybody, welcome Jamie, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
So good morning, and well, afternoon, I suppose, if you're in Lithuania. Hello, everybody. As Mary mentioned, my name is Jamie Lee Coleman, and today I'm going to be talking about the magic of automation and how it can help us as developers. So normally, yes, I would have to introduce myself. Mary's done a very good job at that, so I won't give you the whole spiel. But yes, I'm a developer advocate at Sonatype. I used to work on mainframes at IBM when I first started my career, which was very interesting coming from university. Then I worked on WebSphere, runtimes, and then I was a developer advocate for them for a short while as well. So this is the part where I'd normally ask you to put your hands up and tell me if you'd heard of Sonatype before. Obviously, I can't see everybody, so I'm just going to presume everybody knows who Sonatype is, right? If you're in the Java space, you'll probably use our stuff all the time because we run the biggest Java repository called Maven Central. We have done for quite a long time. Just something we do for the developer community from Sonatype. If you might be familiar with some of our other products. We were the first ever artifact repository in the world. So Nexus, you may know that. There's Nexus Firewall, Lifecycle, all these things. But I'm not really here to talk to you about our products today. I will talk a little bit about how we use automation and AI in our firewall products, but just briefly, just to tell you how we take advantage of this stuff. So what's on the agenda for today? First, we're going to talk about the artificial intelligence revolution. It's not something that's happened over the last few years. I guarantee you that. I'll talk about the current state of AI. Then what I did is I asked ChatGPT to automate and generate some slides for me. All I did was change the word advantages to disadvantages in the question. So we'll see if there's any bias or anything there. Then I'll talk about if we should be worried as engineers in general, some practical uses for AI, how we use AI at Sonatype, and then just kind of my conclusion and my opinion on where AI is going and how it's going to affect us in the future. You'll have to bear with me because I've got a bit of a cold. I've been traveling constantly to conferences. I was in Poland on Friday and everybody seemed to be ill. So if I sneeze and I cough, I do apologize. So the AI revolution. It's a big thing now. Every conference is talking about AI. Everybody's talking about AI. But AI is not a new thing, not in the slightest. So let's rewind quite a few years back to 1950. World War II has just come to an end. And Mr. Alan Turing, if you don't know who he is, he built the first ever computer in the world, technically, right? He didn't design it. I think it was actually a Polish lady who designed it. But back then, to create the idea of a computer was very expensive, and really there wasn't enough usage for it. But then obviously World War II came, and basically the British government employed Alan Turing and a team of engineers to build a computer to crack the Enigma code, which was a code that the Germans and the Axis forces used to communicate, right? So fast forward 5 years after World War II, Alan Turing already knew in 1950 that computers were going to get very, very clever. So he designed something called the Turing test. I'll explain a little bit about what that is later. Logic Theorist. This was basically a program that proved 38 out of 52 mathematical theorems. This is kind of maybe the first kind of level of some kind of intelligence we get from computers where it's able to, you know, complete mathematical problems that humans struggle to do, right? Fast forward, we have the ELIZA chatbot. This was the first ever chatbot in history. Again, a long time ago, 1966, right? Then we fast forward to Webots. This was basically the first ever humanoid robot, so a robot that was built in Japan. So again, still quite a long time ago. We've got robots at this point in 1972. Fast forward to IBM Deep Blue. I'll explain a little bit about what that is later, but that's a very, very clever machine, which can be kind of considered artificial intelligence. And then we go to the Roomba. Now, I have a Husky, and we've just got a new puppy, which is surprisingly not bothering me at the moment because my wife's gone out. But really, the Roomba is amazing for me because it cleans up all the dog hair in the morning before I even wake up, right? But this was the first bit of home technology that had AI inside, okay? So 2002, we've already got AI in our homes, okay? Then we move forward to IBM Watson. This was really a pioneering kind of AI that IBM created back in 2011, still around today. Fast forward to Eugene Goodsman. This was another AI, an AI system, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. And then, of course, what made AI popular today? Well, I think AI personally, and ChatGPT is what's made AI popular with people all around the world for the last few years. So the Turing test, if you don't know what the Turing test is, it's originally called The Imitation Game. If you haven't seen the film The Imitation Game, go and watch it. It's an amazing, amazing film. But basically, it was a test to test a machine's ability to exhibit intellectual behavior, equivalent or indistinguishable from a human, okay? So if a human could not distinguish the difference between a human and AI, then the AI essentially would have passed the test, okay? Like I mentioned, IBM Deep Blue, they started development on this in 1985, so again, quite a while ago. Basically, they wanted to put it up against the best chess player in the world at the time, Garry Kasparov, and basically IBM won 2 of the matches, but Garry won 4, right? But then IBM being IBM, they were not going to let that machine lose, so they upgraded it in 1997 once again, and they challenged Garry. Now, out of 6 matches over several days, IBM actually won 2 of them. The champion won 1, and there was 3 draws. So at this point, the machine is now getting to the point where it's better at playing chess than a human, okay? And not just any human, the best chess player in the world at the time. So fast forward a little bit, we have IBM Watson. This was a great system. I used to use it at IBM. You could ask it stuff in natural language, and it can computate stuff from that. It was initially developed for a quiz show. I don't know if you've ever watched this, but IBM pitted Watson against the best quiz masters in the world, and it came first, right? And it won $1 million. I mean, to be honest, the electricity consumption to power the thing for that quiz show probably was more than that, but they weren't doing it for $1 million, right? They were doing it to prove that AI had now got to a point where we could train it to be better than some of the best quiz masters in the world. And then in 2013, it was used in healthcare. And I thought this was an amazing idea because, for example, I think AI in healthcare is really amazing because at the end of the day, doctors can't learn about all the new treatments and new diseases and stuff that come out on a daily basis, right? No doctor in the world will know everything. But we can feed these kind of information to systems like AI-enabled systems, and they can then help the doctor basically diagnose patients and also figure out the best treatment plan, right? So this was really, really, really cool in my opinion. Yes, so Eugene Goodsman, possibly the most advanced chatbot of its time. It was developed in St. Petersburg in 2001. And I find it funny now because they basically based this on a 13 Ukrainian boy, which is just silly. But the reason they did that is so if it said anything silly or stupid, then you could forgive it, right? Because it's just a little child at the end of the day. This chatbot was very, very advanced. So in 2005 and 2008, it finished second in Turing test competitions, right? So Turing test still a big thing. And in 2014, on the 60th anniversary of Alan Turing's death, it convinced 33% of the judges that it was human, right? And some people do declare this as passing the Turing test, okay? So let's fast forward a little bit to the current state of artificial intelligence in today's world. We've probably all seen the videos online of deep fakes, all these celebrities doing silly things. Like there's even an Instagram account just dedicated solely to fakes of Tom Cruise, and they are really good. Like some of them are really indistinguishable, right? So we're all aware of those kind of things, but have we actually tried using them? My first step into this world was using Adobe Generative Fill. Amazing. I remember when they came out with this about a year and a half ago. Cool. It can really touch up any pictures. It can add anything in. It's a bit scary because we don't know what to believe is true anymore. All these Instagram people going around the world saying, look at me, I'm here, when they might be in their bedrooms. You don't know these days. But this is a really, really amazing tool. But what really has made AI popular today is ChatGPT, right? My grandma and my mum can use this. Anyone who can type sentences onto a keyboard and click to get to a website can use AI, right? Whereas my previous experience with AI at IBM was, you have to connect to APIs, you have to set up a lot of different things, blah, 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 blah. Not something a non-technical person could do, right? Whereas now anybody can use AI. It's really, really quite impressive. So OpenAI, ChatGPT, announced in 2022. It became the fastest growing consumer application in history. There's lots of other chatbots based off it. I know I've got Google Bard there now. I think they called it Gemini now, or whatever. They've got a new version, but yeah, there's lots of different people implementing AI these days, and some of it based on what OpenAI have actually done. But it's not all happy days, right? So in order to train this stuff at the beginning, OpenAI outsourced a lot of its training to Kenyan workers, for example, and it was paying them less than $2 an hour. And why that might not be a really terrible wage in their country, if you think what they would have to be looking at, because there's a lot of evil humans around that'll put disgusting things into these chatbots. They had to go through all of that stuff and make sure that the model was trained right. And they basically described the experience as complete torture. Now, I don't actually know what they do nowadays. I presume they don't do that anymore. But again, so all these technologies we use, all this AI we're using, all this automation, someone's had to actually create the automation for you, create the AI for you. So yeah, just give a thought to the people that have to do that for us, right? So uses for AI and developers, right? So we do with this report, so you can check it out. You can see the link at the bottom. Just Google for state of the software supply chain. But what we do is we talk to a lot of our customers, we talk to different people in the industry, and try and create a report on how the world's changing, how open source is changing, right? And for example, AI came up a lot this year. If I take the first point from the last section, junior developers benefit from having AI and machine learning tools to answer quick questions and provide insight into technical terms and jargon. I think that's an amazing use for AI. Personally, I did a talk in Germany this week around static analysis tools and how they can help junior developers be trained quickly to get up to a really high standard, okay? And I think it's the same for AI. And I can see a lot of AI eventually moving into these kind of static analysis tools. But there's lots of different things we can use it for. Now, these are some of my favorite things that I like to use AI for as a developer. And code snippets is a really good one. Works with Java, Python, C++, blah, 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 blah. And it basically creates error-prone and performance-optimized codes. It's really, really good. So do check that one out. That's amazing. We all know of Copilot, so I don't really need to give you an overview of that. But again, it integrates into a lot of your IDEs. So if you're allowed to use it in your organization, I definitely recommend, because I find these things really, really good if you're starting on a new technology or you're starting on a new project, and they can help you get the bare bones or get started really, really quickly, right? And I hate regex. I don't know how many people here have to use it. I hate it. So auto regex is something really good. You can basically convert English into regex using natural language processing. Really, really good tool if you hate regex like me. It takes me so long to do the smallest amount of things. I don't do it very often, right? And I think that's the point. A lot of these developer productivity tools are really, really good for tasks that we're not very good at, stuff we don't do very often. I think if we're very good at a task, then it's probably going to be a while before the AI tools are really, really going to be able to help us there, right? And documentation, something we all have to do all the time. and it's just a pain. Like, we want to focus generally on innovation. We don't want to have to be writing documentation all the time. So Mintify is very good at generating documentation, and it can understand quite complicated functions and generate documentation from them. So do check that out. There's another thing. I won't give you the name of it because I thought it was open source until it kicked me off and told me it was a trial. But something I've been using AI for, which has been amazing, was so recording, taking down notes in Zoom meetings and things like that. I used this AI tool. It was amazing. It would even not take down notes for stuff that was not related, right? So if we started talking about someone got a new car in the team or this, it would just omit all those notes. It would structure it perfectly, to the point I was pretending for probably 3 weeks that I was just the most amazing note taker in the world. Everyone was like, wow, that's amazing. And then my trial expired. I was like, no. So yeah, tools like AI tools for things like that are really, really amazing. One thing, so another AI tool, and here's an example that we've been using. It's not this exact example, but this is a way you can do that for free using open source, is basically creating an internal chatbot, right? So we get a lot of questions from sales, marketing, different parts of the organization, people that just work in different technical teams, and asking about how this works, how that works, blah, blah, blah. So what we did is we bought an off-the-shelf AI thing that we could just train with our own data. And that saves us as engineers a lot of time, because that is now the first point of call that everybody goes to before asking a question. Whereas before, we used to get bothered quite a lot by salespeople and things like that. So one way you could do that yourself, again, using open source stuff, if you're in the Java space, and don't be afraid of AI in Java, by the way. I am a Java person. I know this conference isn't a Java conference specifically, but don't be afraid of AI in Java. Java is actually quite performant with AI. I've seen quite a few other people do benchmarking tests against Python, and it's beat it in quite a few circumstances. I'll copy this link over. But again, this is all open source. So using LangChain for J, MicroProfile, which is a microservices framework for Java, Jakarta EE, which is what Java EE used to be. OpenLiberty is a runtime that IBM developed, again, open source. And Hugging Face, if you don't know what that is, it's basically an online kind of repository for storing models and things like that, and large models for AI systems. But what this does is, again, you can just go and train your own model. You can basically take this off-the-shelf example, deploy it, point it at that specific model on Hugging Face, and then have people in your organization ask this chatbot questions, rather than having to keep going to you and things like that. The people at OpenLiberty have created a really, I'm a little bit biased because I used to work there, but they've created this really great article which explains how it works, what Chain for J is, how to get started. And again, it's a very simple web application. All you do is type your messaging, click send, boom. But then you can go and train it on your own model, on your own information. So yeah, it can be really, really, really useful for you all. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Oh, let me copy that in. If I put it in the private chat, I don't know if this is going to go to you all, but if it does, or anyone, Mary or whoever, if you could send that to the audience, that would be amazing, just so they can have a look at it and try and create their own kind of automated way of answering questions, right? So as engineers can focus on what's important. How long have I got? I've been live for 90 minutes. Okay, plenty of time. So should we be worried as engineers? Or first of all, should I be worried? I'm a developer advocate. My job is to do this all the time. Generally, I don't get ChatGPT to generate my slides. I may ask ChatGPT some questions, which might be useful, but I don't get it to generate presentations until now, right? So first question I asked ChatGPT was, give me the advantages of artificial intelligence. Give me the advantages of AI in presentation slides. So the next few slides are generated, and then I asked the same question, but changed the word advantages to disadvantages, and then generated those slides. So I just wanted to see if anyone here can notice any bias with these, right? I'm not going to read all the points in these slides, but I'll read the first points. And I agree with most of the things in this presentation. So first of all, increased efficiency, right? AI technology can automate repetitive and mundane tasks, freeing up human resources for more complex and creative work. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Enhanced decision making. AI algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data quickly and accurately, enabling informed decision-making. Yes, so like I mentioned with Watson Health, things like that, like really, really useful for those kind of situations. Improve customer experience. AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants provide instant and personalized customer support, enhancing the overall experience. Yes, I can agree with that. I've used some AI systems before when I've been on the phone and they know it's me instantly and get me to the right place. So really good. Cost saving. So AI can help businesses reduce costs by automating processes, eliminating the need for manual labor. I agree with that. Again, that might be one of the points when some engineers start to get worried because AI can automate lots of mundane tasks. But personally, I think that's a good thing, but we'll talk about that later. Innovation and creativity. Oh, by the way, feel free to ask me any questions while I'm going along. I'm more of a free-flowing speaker, so I'm happy to just try and answer the questions as I go, or we can save them to the end. But yes, innovation and creativity. AI enables researchers and scientists to tackle complex problems by leveraging computational power and advanced algorithms, similar to one of the other points before on the other side. But yes, I agree with that as well. Improve safety. AI can be employed in various industries to enhance safety and reduce risk. Yes, 100%. We've seen that with self-driving cars. They're generally a lot safer than humans. I think most of the risk on the road is generally humans, and most of the problems self-driving cars have is with humans, not the actual self-driving car itself. But I am also a petrol head, so the day that we're no longer allowed to drive vehicles will make me cry, but I probably won't be around for that. Personalized experiences, again, very similar to one of the points we had earlier. AI can analyze user data and preferences to deliver personalized experiences, such as customized recommendations and content. Very similar to one of the previous slides, but again, I agree with that. So the conclusion of the advantages of AI. Artificial intelligence offers numerous advantages across lots of different industries, from increased efficiency, enhanced decision-making, to improve customer experience, cost savings. AI is transforming the way we work and live. And embracing AI technologies can unlock new opportunities and drive innovation. Okay, cool. Completely agree with that. Now, see if anyone can see the bias between the two. Again, all I did was change the word advantages to disadvantages. Okay, so job displacement. AI and automation technologies have the potential to replace human workers in various industries. Yep, completely agree with that. I don't think we need to be worried. I'll explain why in a bit. Lack of human judgment and intuition. AI systems lack the ability to exhibit human level judgment, intuition, and creativity. Yes, the creativity, yes, I suppose they're not that creative. It's more about what your creativity and how you want to get it to do it. But yes, I agree with that. Privacy, we've seen this before when ChatGPT and other things first came out. AI systems often require vast amounts of data, and where they get that data from can be a little, wishy-washy. So that's not always good. Dependence on technology, over-reliance on AI technology can make societies vulnerable to system failures. I think that's just not a specific thing to AI personally. I think that's just an over-reliance on technology as a whole. I don't think AI is any more susceptible to failures than over-reliance on AI than just general technology personally. Ethical considerations. AI algorithms can perpetuate and amplify existing biases, which is what I'm trying to show you here. And lack of emotional intelligence. AI systems cannot understand or emphasize with human emotions and social cues, right? While that is true, you do have sentiment analysis in text and speech to text and things like that. So it's slowly getting to the point where it might be able to understand if someone's sad or angry. But yeah, I understand. Unemployment and income equality. As AI automates certain jobs, it can exacerbate can't even speak English today, income equality, and create a divide between those who benefit from AI and those who do not. That I 100% agree with, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. Lack of accountability. Who's responsible if an AI makes a decision and stuff goes wrong, right? If we've got a self-driving car, a child runs in front of the self-driving car and the self-driving car is AI enabled, it has to make the decision to swerve left, or in case of 2/3 of the world, swerve right onto the opposite side of the road, and another car might hit it. So that could be a collision. People could get hurt or die there, or it could go onto the pavement, sidewalk, wherever you're from, and there could be people on there. So who is accountable for the decision that that AI makes in that circumstance, right? So conclusion of disadvantages. While AI offers numerous benefits, it is important to be aware of its potential disadvantages. And addressing these challenges requires careful consideration, regulation, and ethical frameworks. Now, I'm not sure. Can anyone there see the difference between the 2 points, right? So, and I gave you a little hint there of what the difference was. So this was advantages. This was disadvantages, okay? So the clue was in how many points. As you can see, when I asked it disadvantages, it only gave me 2 points for each slide. And it could have easily found a third point, right? I found third points for all those arguments. Whereas the AI itself, it thought, oh, I don't want to talk too bad about myself, right? So it only gave me 2 points. And you can already see there is some bias there, okay? Should I be worried? Maybe I should be a little bit worried. It was quite good at making those slides. I think it's going to be quite a long time before a robot is going to in-person conferences and standing on stage and replacing me. Could happen in my lifetime. But so maybe I should be a little bit worried. Should general developers, software engineers in general, should they be worried about AI? My personal opinion is no, okay? So yes, for a totally different reason in regards to security, but no in terms of like our jobs, okay? I think, like I mentioned, we're a long, long way away before this kind of robot is able to do a lot of tasks around the world. I quite like this quote. To replace programmers with AI, project managers need to accurately describe what they want. So I think we're safe for quite a while, right? But the reason I say we shouldn't be worried is our job is essentially to automate the world. Okay, that is what software engineers do. We take tasks that are manual and we try and create an automated process to make life easier for the person using our software, right? So our job is essentially to automate every other person out of a job. That is what we do. Okay. Now, unfortunately, that will mean we will be the last people on this planet still working, okay? Because someone's got to keep all the IT systems running. Someone's got to create the new IT systems. So we're going to be the last people working on this planet. But I don't think we should be worried personally, because first of all, there's lots of other automated jobs that AI are going to do way before automating our jobs first, right? There's lots of jobs they can do. But what I would say is an engineer that knows how to take advantage of AI might take your job, right? The AI system is not going to take your job as a whole. Someone's still going to have to run that AI system generally, right? And if you're doing a job where an AI system can easily take over it, then you probably should be looking for a new job and retraining yourself anyway, okay? If your job's that easily replaceable, then you should be trying to retrain yourself anyway. But personally, I honestly think if you can take advantage of because that's what we should be doing anyway, taking advantage of all the new technology that comes out. So if we can take advantage of it and make ourselves better engineers, I don't think we'll have to worry about losing our job in the slightest. But like I said, if you're doing a very mundane, automatable task, then you should be trying to find a new job anyway, because yes, software engineers will eventually automate that task, right? And that's a good thing because it allows humans to focus on innovation, allows them to be creative rather than doing repetitive tasks over and over again. So the part we should be worried about as engineers, the bad ways AI is being used, right? So cyber attacks have risen dramatically over the last, since the internet was born, right? 1992. And nation states essentially preparing for the next war, but it's not going to be physical. It's a lot more to do with hacking, okay? And the days are gone where it's a load of people in a basement trying to earn money. Yes, that is still the case. But a lot of these hacking groups are now nation sponsored, right? And they're trying to take down our infrastructure. They're trying to take down our medicine production, our logistics in terms of food deliveries, things like that. And they're not just doing it straight away. They'll come in and wait in your system. They've exploited your system and they'll wait there for the opportune moment to cause the most amount of damage, okay? So the days are changing, things are changing, and we need to be a lot more prepared for this stuff. Like I said, Sonatype runs Maven Central, the biggest Java repository. There's a lot of decisions that were made at the beginning that help us reduce stuff. So you have to own the domain. For example, if I'm putting up something from Apache, I'd have to own the domain org.apache to do that. Okay. There's different ways people are trying to get socially engineer into our systems now, because our firewalls are pretty robust. As long as nobody makes any mistakes and allows these people in by, plugging in some malware on a USB stick, which we should all be aware is not a good thing to do. They'll try different things like dependency confusion, where they'll just add a really long version number. So you go and download the latest, and all of a sudden you've got malware or vulnerability. They might do typo squatting. So instead of log4j, it might be log.j4, things like that, right? With Maven Central, the first two are defeated because you have to own the domain, but nothing's stopping someone from creating a domain, their own new domain, paying for it, and then registering that, right? So we do have protections in place, but again, it's still something that can happen. Whereas if we compare the Node ecosystems and the Python ecosystems, their repositories are full of malware. We do takedown requests on a daily basis to these repositories to get this stuff removed. We identify stuff on a daily basis, quite a lot of things on a daily basis. I mean, like I mentioned, Java's pretty safe. I think 99 or 97% of all the malware we find is through these two ecosystems, right? So quite scary. But stuff's hard, okay? I mean, we didn't have to worry about this 25 years ago. We were writing everything ourselves. Whereas now we do, okay? We have to worry about that package we're downloading. Does it contain vulnerabilities? How do we figure that out? How do we stop the bad code being published, et cetera, et cetera? So there's lots of different things we have to consider that we didn't have to previously. And for Maven Central, again, I think malware has only been in there once, and I think that might have been a test by Sonatype, but everything's scanned with our commercial scanners. So we automate the whole process of when you try and push it up, we do a load of automated process to check that there is nothing bad in there. And just to clarify, the difference between a vulnerability and malware is made intentionally to be malicious. It's meant to be bad, okay? A vulnerability is generally a coding mistake that opens up a security problem, generally a vulnerability, but it's not malicious, okay? So for Maven Central, again, if you're not in the Java space, don't worry too much about this, but what I'm trying to emphasize here is we should make better decisions earlier on when building our applications, choosing what libraries we're going to use, rather than having to deal with the bad things later. Oh, there we go. So unfortunately, we as developers are quite slow to change. If you're in the Java space, you'll be familiar with the log4j vulnerability. This was probably the worst vulnerability in Java's history. This was a few months after it came out. Of course, we run Maven Central, so we can see how many people are downloading that vulnerable version. And at that point, a few months later, we were at 51 million downloads, right? We fast forward to a few weeks ago, it's still being downloaded at a crazy rate. 33% of all downloads of this library, it's a logging library that's embedded into lots of things, are still that vulnerable version. 354 million downloads of Java's worst ever vulnerable library still. It's quite crazy, right? That's not going to stop us using open source. Like I mentioned, this is a new thing that's happening because we are consuming lots of open source. And in fact, we did a study that said 90% of the code we ship is not our code, right? It's code we have taken from dependencies. That's a lot of stuff that we are not paying attention to. And the bad people using AI and things like that are, okay? So we take an average Java project, for example, 150 dependencies. Each one of those has 10 releases a year. That's 1,500 updates to consider. That 25 years ago, we were writing all that code ourselves. So we didn't have to worry about it too much. And we've all probably seen this image, but yes, it generally turns around that a lot of these projects are maintained by a small group of people. And they can be very easily influenced with AI and lots of other things to essentially turn, not them personally turn malicious, but convince people to hand over projects and make them malicious, essentially. And it's a lot. So this is Spring Web Framework, for example. And as you can see, we pull in one project here that pulls in all these and these dependencies and these dependencies and these dependencies. So there's a lot of different attack vectors for the bad people to utilize, right? And the modern face of cybercrime is its difficult tasks, detailed plots, high technology, elaborate schemes. But in reality, they go for simplicity. This is why AI is their friends, because they can use AI to very, very easily get started doing malicious stuff. So one of the first things I did with ChatGPT, and this is when it was just released, is asked it to generate me malware in Java, in Python, in Node. It did it in every language, and I kept asking it to tweak it, and it was tweaking it in different ways. So again, people are taking advantage of automation and AI to attack us and do bad things. This is malware as a service. You can go to this service and it will customize and generate malware for you, which then goes into these repositories that we use as engineers. Okay, so we've got to be very, very careful, because the bad people in the world are taking advantage of this AI technology and they're using it for very, very bad things. Now, why does that matter for us as software engineers, right? Well, some crazy facts here. I've thrown these slides around a few times, but in 2016, cybercrime from one study stated that it surpassed the drug trade. Okay, that was 450 billion US dollars a year, 14,000 US dollars a second. And that is equivalent to 50 of the world's biggest nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. Right? So crazy. Am I still here? Can you still hear me, Mary? Hope so. Yeah, so a lot of aircraft carriers, right? That's got much worse. 2022, what are we talking about? 6 trillion. That's equal to 620 of the world's biggest aircraft carriers. Okay, crazy amount. If that was the GDP of a country, it'd be the 3rd largest GDP in the world. Okay. And I've recently, over the last few months, seen some more studies that say we're at about 9 trillion US dollars. Okay, so crazy amount of money. And what does that get you, you ask? Well, it'll give you a year's salary for 162 million teachers in the United States. It'll give you 36,000 celebrity divorce settlements. That doesn't seem that much. God, they must be getting a lot in these divorce settlements. Lots of Toyota Priuses, and of course, what matters to us most, 11.97 trillion chocolate bars. They're stealing all our chocolate, everybody. Come on, we need to stop these bad people stealing our chocolate. And if this guy was around today, I don't think he'd be in the drug trade. I think all that money around him would be a load of hackers, because as we see with drug dealers and drug criminals, they generally get caught, put in prison, get killed. Cyber criminals don't often get caught. They generally don't get killed. And they make a lot of money. So I think the world is changing, right? And like I mentioned, AI is making this stuff a lot harder. Back if we went to 2006, this is some research from IBM. It basically said that we had on average 45 days from when some malware or vulnerability was announced before we got attacked. Whereas what we saw with Log4j, that was about a day. Okay, so it's a crazy short window now we have to be prepared when people start attacking us. And open source code is in everything. It's in insulin pumps, it's in aircraft, it's in self-driving cars, it's in trains. Okay, so we need to be responsible for the stuff we're shipping. Now, Sonatype, how have we used AI? Well, we used AI before it was cool. Not so far back as Alan Turing creating the Turing test. Like, we haven't been around that long, but we've been using it for quite a while. Okay, I won't bother showing you this, but basically this is kind of the Sonatype platform. Like I mentioned, you'll probably be familiar with Sonatype repository. Lifecycle is a thing that continuously scans all your stuff, right? Your software development lifecycle to make sure there's no bad stuff in there. But the one I want to highlight is Firewall. So Firewall, for example, is like the name suggests, it's a firewall, but not a firewall to stop any incoming connection. It's a firewall that basically goes between your public repository and your internal repository. And what we use here, and we've been doing this for about 5 years, I think now, 6 years, is we have an AI machine learning system that constantly scans everything that comes into Firewall. It observes every new code commit, things like that. And basically, we have a security research team of 50 people. So My advice with AI is great. It's a great tool to make us better at what we do, but don't replace humans with AI generally, because then there can be quite bad repercussions. Okay. But this system itself has found to date over 350,000 new malicious packages in the world, right? Like I said, 94.6, all of these are from Node and Python. And it's quite scary when Python's the main language people are using to create AI systems nowadays. So yes, we need to be very, very careful. But essentially, yeah, firewall sits in between. It kind of goes, if we've seen it before, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, if we've seen it before, then it'll go straight into your system. If not, the AI algorithm will look at it. The humans will look at it. If it's bad or good, we'll retrain the AI system constantly, because the bad people and the ones that are using AI to generate all this stuff, they're being very, very creative in how they try and attack our systems. Okay, to summarize, hopefully I can give you a few minutes for questions. This is my conclusion, by the way. So if you have any problems with this, feel free to shout at me. AI is not going to take most of our jobs in software engineering anytime soon. If you have a very mundane, repetitive job, try and retrain yourself anyway, because that doesn't sound fun. Current AI technology has been around for a long time. It's not a new thing, okay? So I guess it's an amazing thing and it's come a long way, but it's not new in any way, shape or form. It's become popular just because my grandma can use it, right? Although it should take a while to type something, but she can type, she can. AI can make us much, much more productive in our daily jobs, but AI can be used for bad things. And with any amazing technology, you will always have bad people that take advantage of it, right? So try and find as much technology you can to combat the bad things people are doing with AI. And generally, a lot of the time, that seems to be AI, okay? And again, try and utilize some AI systems in your current business. Like I mentioned, the whole chat thing we have for training it on all our documentation, our technical knowledge, so sales and marketing can just ask that. It's amazing. It saved us loads of time. There's some useful links here: the history of AI, history of software supply chain attacks, things like that. And we have a dashboard for Log4j if you want to check out any of those things. Just take a screenshot of that and take any of those down. Get in touch, some types around on all the different platforms, some more cool stuff to check out there. If you're in the Java space, check out the new Maven Central. But yeah, there's some articles me and a colleague created there. If you want to find my slides, scan this code, you'll get to my terrible website. Don't worry, I'm not a front-end developer. Well, do worry, whatever. I'm not a front-end developer. My wife actually is a full-stack developer, and she looked at it and was like, "What is this?" So I'm going to help her write a blog, and she's going to fix my website for me. But you can find all my slides and everything if you scan that QR code, or just go to the link at the bottom. It's just a GitHub page I set up. And with that, I will end my recording, which gives us about 2 minutes for questions. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jamie. It's
Hello, Mary.
very, full of lots of great information. So yeah, I guess at this point, I do not see any questions coming from the audience. But please, we still have 2 minutes. And if anybody wants to ask a quick question to Jamie. So let's see. Yeah, it's been
I'm
quiet.
going to go outside. I'm going to go outside for a few minutes because it's a rare sunny day in the UK.
Yes, I know. In near you, you're near London, right?
Yeah, about an hour away. Yeah, not too far.
Cool. Yeah, great. Yeah, great. So, yeah, I don't see anything, and it's been kind of quiet.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just scary. I don't know. Maybe I scared everyone too much.
Not really. It's funny too. Here in Chicago, we're just starting the day, and here in Europe too, it's like in the.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're in Chicago. Yeah.
In the evening now.
Although you're probably still on European times, right? Because you just came from Germany, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been waking up at 2 and 3 in the morning, so I figure, okay, no big deal. I can get up. So I'm keeping my European time schedule for now. So,
nice.
Yep. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, there's a question. Wait. In the Q&A
Hooray!
section. Oh, okay. Really quickly. If AI is used for breaching security, can we use AI to protect us then?
Yeah, so kind of similar to what I said. I mean, IBM uses AI with their cloud providings a lot to try and combat AI. So IBM's sponsors Wimbledon, big tennis big tennis thing in London, and they use AI there to kind of combat any incoming threats. But like I said, we use AI at Sonatype with Firewall to combat incoming threats as well. So I mean, to rely solely on humans is getting difficult. But like I mentioned, I would never take a human out of the equation completely, because that can lead to quite bad things. And we don't want over reliance on computers, because when they do go wrong, then we're all a bit screwed, right? So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Great. I believe so. Yeah, let me see if there's any response. It looks like folks are happy.
Awesome.
And I guess we are just at time. So this is perfect. If folks wants to reach out to Jamie, Jamie has all of the contact information from this site too. So yeah, so very good. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mary. You've been an amazing host. It's a pleasure to see you again.
It's great to see you too. Thank you. Thanks for a great talk. Thank you, Jamie.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Yeah.